In this episode of Lost Lore, we're going to talk about the thunder drum of Koryak. And now, back to the possibly possessed thunder drum of the Koryak people. The origin story for this particular drum is one that seems to come up again and again in the folklore of many cultures. A great hero goes off to fight some kind of battle, but before he does, he takes an item from his enemy that will later be used against them. In this case, the hero took the drum from the thunder beings, though exactly who these beings are varies depending on the telling. Sometimes they're giants, sometimes they're demons, and sometimes they're simply the spirits of the storm. But whoever they are, they hate having their drum taken by the hero, and so when they see him return with it, they try to take it back, causing storms and other natural disasters. That's why, according to tradition, anyone who plays the drum must be extremely careful not to let any of its magic essence escape, or else the spirits of the storm will become angry. But someone did let some of the spirit escape, and ever since then, the drum has been cursed. Our tale begins like many others do, with a great war. There were two sides, the above people and the below people, and they were engaged in a great conflict. Now the above people had a strong fortress, but the below people attacked and destroyed it. The survivors fled to the mountains where they lived for some time until their chieftains came up with a plan. They sent a man named Chatan to the below people under the guise of wanting to surrender. He was given a letter to deliver to the below people's chief that read, "We have no more food to eat. We would like to throw our weapons into the river and surrender." Of course, this was a trick. The letter wasn't written by the chieftain, but by a shaman, and it was filled with false prophecies meant to lull the below people into a false sense of security. And the plan worked. The below people agreed to stop fighting and laid down their arms. Then the above people immediately attacked and defeated them, killing or enslaving all who got away. During the battle, one of the chieftains went after the below people's shaman, but he escaped by jumping into a river and swimming across to the other side. To get away, he transformed himself into a fish, but the chieftain followed him into the water and pursued him. When he caught up to the shaman, he pulled out a knife and cut the fish in half, releasing the shaman's spirit, which flew up to the sky and became clouds, while his body turned into a beautiful white fish. The chieftain didn't kill the shaman because he knew that if he did, he would become the below people's greatest enemy, the thunder beings. After the war, the chieftains wanted to end the possibility of any future conflicts, so they went to the thunder beings' home to destroy their drum, for that was the source of their power. But when they arrived, they found that their fortress was empty. As they searched around, they came across a giant drum and decided to take it with them. It was guarded by a pair of ferocious tigers, but they scared the animals away with ease. They took the drum back to their village and stored it away. A short while later, the shaman's son grew up and heard tales of how his father was killed. He was furious, especially when he learned that the above people were keeping his father's drum. He told his mother that he was going to get it back, but she warned him that it was too dangerous. You see, it wasn't just an ordinary drum, and she knew that the thunder beings were still inside it. She told him that the only way he could get it back was to make a deal with the spirits of the mountain. But they were very tricky, and even if he succeeded, the drum would most likely be cursed. Despite his mother's warnings, Chatan went to the village elder and asked him for permission to go after the drum, and when he granted it, he immediately left. He walked for 3 days without finding anything, until one evening he came across a small hut. A woman came to the door and invited him inside. She gave him food, and he explained his quest. The woman said that she would help him get the drum back, if he promised to bring her back some of its magic essence. She led him outside and pointed to a huge mountain in the distance, and said that if he could bring her back some rock from the top, she would teach him how to get the drum back. After she left, Chatan started climbing the mountain. On the way up, he saw a temple and went inside. There he met a monk who also offered him food and a place to sleep. And the next day, just before he left, the monk gave him a staff and told him that it would protect him from danger. Chatan continued his journey and reached the summit, where he found a hut inhabited by the spirits of the mountain. They accepted his gift of rock and showed him how to play the drum. Then he returned to the hut where the woman waited for him, and after thanking her for her help, he set off for the village. As soon as he got there, he began playing the drum, and although he tried his best, he couldn't stop shaking because it was so powerful. Suddenly, the drum flew into the air and landed on top of the village elder's house. The elder came to the door and asked what had happened. So Chatan told him everything. Then the elder told him that he needed to give the drum to the bravest man in the village, a man named Billy. Billy was excited to get the drum, but just like Chatan, he couldn't stop shaking from its power. The drum flew into the air and landed in a field where a farmer and his wife were working. The farmer took it back to his house, but just as he entered, the drum shook the entire building. His wife said that it wasn't safe to keep it there, so he took it back to the village center and put it in a special building called a gu. It was made specifically for storing the drum. One night, however, a heavy wind blew through town and stole the drum. It traveled all over the land, causing chaos everywhere it went, until it finally stopped at the home of an old woman. She opened the door and saw the drum sitting right outside. She looked around and saw no one. So she brought it inside and locked the door. In the morning, people found the drum and demanded that she hand it over, but she refused, saying that she didn't know who it belonged to. They threatened her, but she wouldn't budge. Eventually, they left, and the next day they came back with a judge, but he sided with the woman and made them all leave. They went to the chief, who sided with the woman, and then to the king, who did the same. So the people took the matter into their own hands and went to the woman's house, but when they entered, she had vanished and the drum was gone. They searched everywhere, but it was nowhere to be found. Just when they were about to give up, they saw a cloud floating in the sky and growing closer and closer. Soon it landed and an old man came out. He asked what the commotion was, and when they told him, he said that he knew where the drum was. He took them to a tall tree and told them to climb it. At the top, they found a hollow where the drum was being kept. They thanked the old man and brought the drum back to the village. Now, despite the fact that everyone wanted the drum, no one dared touch it because they feared whatever spirit it had inside it. It was too dangerous. Eventually, the king ordered that it be taken to a faraway island, buried deep in the ground and covered with stones. Some believe that this is where the drum still remains, and others say that it can still be heard echoing through the caves on the island. There are lots of stories about the thunder drum. In fact, it might be the most well-known artifact from Koryak mythology. It's referenced in songs and poems, and it features in modern works of art. But unfortunately, most of these stories have been collected and written down fairly recently, and most of the older versions have been lost to time. What do you think? Did you enjoy hearing about the thunder drum of Koryak? Let me know in the comments below. If you did, be sure to subscribe and check out my other videos. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.